Creating group sets. To create a group set is very similar. It's just creating a manual or self-enroll group. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down under the course management. We're going to go down to users and groups. If you've already added the tool to the course navigation menu, you can pop into it from groups. But for this case, we're just going to go ahead and pop down to users and groups and click on groups. So inside of here we can see all of the groups that we've created. If you've seen the previous tutorial, there's group A and B that we created. In this case, we're actually going to be looking to create group sets, something that's going to be more similar to right here. So like the cool group 1, 2, and 3, that's a group set. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to create, and then we can look at group set. And let's talk about each of our options here. We can random enroll, which means that the system is going to go through, and if we say we want 5 groups, it'll go through the entire course roster and distribute the students into the 5 groups randomly. Or we can say we want groups of 3 students, and then it will go through the roster and make groups of 3 until it runs out of 3 students and then stops. So at that point, you can determine the number of groups you want or the number of students that you want in each group, and that's what a random enroll is going to do. But after that, you can go back in and you can manually manipulate. If you want to change students around, you can do that inside of the random enroll. You just do it after the fact. The initial die cast is random, but after that, you can manipulate it. Self-enroll has that sign-up sheet where students can go and sign up for any of these group sets, or manual enroll is where you're going to assign each student into each group. For this case, let's go ahead and do a random enroll. So we're going to be creating a group set with a random enroll, and I'm just going to call this group. Now I'm not going to call it group 1, group A, group B. I'm just going to call it group. And when it creates the sets, it's going to numerically increment them so that it's going to be group 1, group 2, group 3, however many we decide. So here we could add a description of what each group is about, or what this group is about. We can say, is this available to students? Is this visible? And we're going to say yes. As before, we have all of the same tools. We can have blogs and discussion boards, collaboration wikis, email, file sharing, all of that inside of here. And if you need more information on that, go ahead and look at the tutorial for creating groups. So next we can look down, do we want them to be able to personalize it? Again, for information on these, go ahead and look at the creating groups tutorial. Right here, we'll go ahead and create a smart view for each group in a set. That's fine, we can do that. And then as we come down, let's look at membership, because this is where the random enroll becomes very different. We can determine the number of groups by the number of students per group. So let's say I had 5 students in a group, it'll go through and make these groups of 5 students until it runs out. So if I had 15 students in the course, I would get 3 groups. If I had 20 students, I would get 4 groups. If I had 23 students, I would get either 4 groups or 5 groups, depending on how we configure this down here in just a moment. Or we can determine the number of groups. We can say I want 6 groups, and whichever one that we select, so 6 groups, and if I had 18 students in the group, I would get 3 students in each group. So we determine either the number of students per group or the number of groups. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and say I want 4 groups, and I don't care how many students are in each. Or actually, no. Let's go ahead and change this up, and I'm going to say I want 3 groups, 3 students per group. Now next, what we're going to look at is determine how to enroll any remaining members. So if there's any leftovers, let's say I have, I don't know, 17 students. Well, they're not all going to fit in this nice round number of 3. So here we can distribute the remaining members amongst the groups. So just kind of sprinkle them in. You know, if there's 1 or 2 leftovers, we'll just pop them in and maybe have 1 or 2 groups of 4 instead of all of them having groups of 3. We can also say, okay, no. If we have leftover of 2, they're going to go in their own group. There'll be a little group of 2. Everyone else is a group of 3, but this one's going to be groups of 2. Or we can say, you know what, manually, as the instructor, we're going to deal with this. We're going to see where we want to put these. So I'm going to say that I want student groups with 3 per group. And I'm going to just have them sprinkle it in there, just distribute these other students inside of there. And then I'm going to go ahead and submit. And so what's going to happen is when we return to our groups here, we can see that it has created group sets. So I have groups 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's what that group set just created. And if I look, it has 3 members in each. Of course, in this situation, I had a perfect number of students, so it didn't have to sprinkle them in anywhere. But it's randomly assigned them. If I go ahead and pop in here, I can take a look at the membership of each different group. But it has said, okay, members of 3, and it's created the proper number of groups, randomly assigned these different students. So that is, in a very quick tutorial, how to create group sets. Again, remember that when you're creating it, you don't need to say group 1, group 2, group 3. It's going to take care of that for you. Just have the generic beginning name, and then it's going to roll after that. Now, if you want each group to have its own custom name, like dragonflies, and one is the beetles, and one is I don't know, pill bugs or something, whatever you wanted to do, if you wanted each one to have a custom, then you're going to have to either create all your groups and go back in and rename them, which you could do. You could go in and edit the group and then come up here and give it a custom name. Say like here I've said group 1 veggies. You could go in and edit them and create them that way, or you could create each one individually, and for that you'd want to look at the tutorial on how to create groups. So I hope this helps. Good luck creating groups.